Once upon a time, a young man, overwhelmed with despair, came running to a wise sage. His eyes were filled with tears, his face burdened with sorrow, and his heart heavy with disappointment. He fell at the sage's feet and cried, "Master, I have lost everything. I lost my job, my friends have abandoned me, and I don't know what to do anymore. My life is ruined. I never imagined that life would treat me this way." The sage looked at him kindly, placed a gentle hand on his shoulder, and smiled. "Do not worry, my child. Whatever happens, happens for a good reason." The young man, already consumed by grief, became frustrated. "How can you say that? I have lost everything. How can this possibly be for my good?" The sage took a deep breath and said, "Sit down and let me tell you a story." Many years ago, in a small village, there lived a farmer who worked hard in his fields alongside his son. He didn't have much, but he was content. His most prized possession was a beautiful and swift horse. One day, the horse ran away into the wilderness. The villagers came to him, expressing their sympathy, saying, "This is terrible. You have lost your most valuable possession." The farmer simply smiled and replied, "Who knows? Maybe it's bad, maybe it's good." A few days later, the same horse returned, bringing with it several wild horses. The villagers were astonished and exclaimed, "You were right. This is wonderful. Now you have more horses than before." The farmer smiled again and said, "Who knows? Maybe it's good, maybe it's bad." A few days later, while trying to tame one of the wild horses, the farmer's son fell and broke his leg. He was left unable to work for months. Once again, the villagers came and sympathized, saying, "What a misfortune. Now your son cannot work in the fields." The farmer calmly replied, "Who knows? Maybe it's bad, maybe it's good." Weeks later, war broke out in the land, and the king's soldiers arrived in the village to recruit all the young men for battle. When they saw the farmer's son with a broken leg, they left him behind. The other villagers, whose sons had been taken away, cried with grief. But the farmer's son remained safe. Now, the villagers realized that what had once seemed like a disaster had actually been a blessing in disguise. The sage finished his story and looked at the young man, who was now deep in thought. "You see, my child," the sage said, "we do not always understand life's plan. What seems like a loss today may turn out to be a blessing tomorrow. You lost your job, your friends left you, but who knows? Maybe a greater opportunity is waiting for you." The young man took a deep breath, and for the first time, a glimmer of hope appeared on his face. He was no longer filled with despair, but with a sense of understanding. Life's challenges, hardships, and losses often lead us towards something greater. We must have patience, faith, and courage, for whatever happens, happens for a good reason.